Today I'm going to talk about my kids' actual 529 college savings plans. So first I'm going to share what the account balances are in each of their 529 plans. Then second, we're going to talk about those contributions that we're putting into the plan on an annual and a monthly basis. And then third, I'm going to talk about some performance numbers that you're going to want to pay close attention to. And finally, I'm going to share with you why I increased my contributions into their plan, which I think is a big deal and you might want to as well. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time at our channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Travis Sickle, and let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to pull it right up on the screen so we can go through this together. So first we'll talk about the balances. You can see them right here with my 4 kids. If this is your first time at our channel or first time watching this series, Callie has $6,643 right now, and she just went into kindergarten, started yesterday, and she is 5. Cody is 7. He has $13,240 saved into this 529 plan. Josie has $4,195. Josie is 2 years old right now. And Lexi is Cody's twin, so she is also going into or in the 2nd grade with $14,378. Now, this is only one of their plans, and as the bulk of the savings are in this 529 plan, but I also have the Florida 529 college savings plan as well, but a much smaller amount are in those plans. So just to give you an idea of the total amount of those 529 plans. So I actually broke this out into a Google sheet so we can go over the amount that we are saving into these plans. So the total that we have into the plans that I just read to you are over here, and that equals $38,458. This is what we've saved into each of their plans over the last year. So that's $3,600 for Callie, $7,200 for Cody, $3,000 for Josie, and $7,400 for Lexi. The reason these two numbers, the 7,200 and 74, are different is because I just basically arbitrarily set them up on different days. There was no real rhyme or reason for it. And realistically, I'll go back in there and make sure, in the future that they both have the same amount of money. But that's why the numbers are different, and that's why these annual contributions are a little bit different. It's more of a timing thing than anything else. And here are the monthly contributions that I have set up for this 529 plan. I have $500 for Callie, $600 for Cody, $400 for Josie, and $600 for Lexi, bringing that current total to $2,100 per month. So here's where we were 1 year ago. Here's where we are right now. So $17,968 1 year ago, $38,458 right now. So before we get into the performance numbers, let's talk about some performance metrics that you want to kind of pay attention to. And let me scroll down here so I can show you what you might find on your own 529 college savings plan website. Now, not all the websites are exactly the same, or all the calculations are exactly the same, but you can see right here on Callie's, the year-to-date number is negative 4.47%. And you might be thinking, well, that's pretty good relative to the S&P 500, but that's a personal rate of return, which is affected by the contributions. So not necessarily the metric that I would choose. I would not choose this metric almost ever to really get an idea of how well you're doing. Cody's is at negative 4.44%, Josie's at negative 2.39% year to date, and Lexi's at negative 5.86, again, year to date. Now, the year to date numbers are not realistic because of this. Let me go flip over to, I pulled it all the different positions. I have 4 of them right now into the Yahoo Finance chart. And I have it compared to the S&P 500 here in the light blue, and then the Russell 2000, which are small caps. Now, I only have an equities portfolio, and I chose 4 different funds for, I think, really 2 reasons. First, I went all equities because I don't want any bonds in these portfolios. That's me personally. You might want some bonds. That's also why I shy away from the target date funds, because they tend to have bonds early on, which I just don't think are necessary. And The second reason is in this particular plan, it would not allow me to put 100% into any one of these funds, or else I probably would have just put 100% into the S&P 500 fund, because you can't really do any different types of investing after that. You have to just choose the set of funds that are inside of these plans, which across the country, a lot of these plans are getting better, but that's the rhyme or reason why I do it. So going back to this performance, here's what I want to point out. That you're looking at these year-to-date numbers. First, that calculation, I would just throw that out the door. I think personal rates of return or internal rates of return are kind of misleading of really what you want to pay attention to as far as your rate of return. What you want to look at is the fund's performance. Now, none of these calculators will do the time-weighting return to give you the true return of the actual funds you're invested in. And that's really what you want to focus on. So here's what's interesting about this. So you're going to get a couple of things out of this. So here I've charted it for year to date, and we can see that the S&P 500 is right here at negative 14.05%. But then what's done well is this fund right here. It is the UTVUX. I have those tickers right here so you can see them. The UTVUX is the small cap value. But I also believe, let's see, the worst performer at negative 17.44% year to date, and that is the UTVKX. So the KX fund is the other small cap, and that's the growth index fund. Does that mean they're bad? No, not at all. Just because, and especially you can see here, because it's lagging in the market, a lot of people like to compare things to the S&P 500. But if you're not invested in the S&P 500, then it's just not a good comparison, because look at this. If we look at the 3-month, it completely changes. What is the top performer by far is the UTVKX. You can see it here. It's at 15.2%, where the S&P 500 is at 3%, and the Russell 2000, which is a better benchmark for that particular fund, at 8.6%. So they kind of flip-flop over time. That's what usually happens. So take a look at the year-to-date numbers again, and then we could see the 1 year. So that's why I have these portfolios invested the way that I do. So now let's talk about why I'm increasing my kids' 529 plan contributions. And it has to do with this proposal right here, which is called the College Savings Recovery Act. And this proposal would allow us to take money from the 529 plan and put it over into your Roth IRA or your beneficiary's Roth IRA. So if you're thinking, what if my kid doesn't go to school? What if they get a scholarship? Or what if there's money left over? Now you have a solution where you could take the money from the 529 plan and put it into the Roth IRA. In addition to that, the other reason why I'm increasing my contributions is because you can basically leave the money in the 529 plan indefinitely. So if my kids don't end up using all of the money, then we could just keep it in there, and then they can use it for their own kids or my grandkids. So that is another reason why I'm increasing my contributions into the 529 plans. So that is a rundown on my kids' actual 529 plans and why I'm increasing the contributions. If you have any questions on any of this, let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.